Hey everybody, coming at you live from the backyard. And guess who's behind the camera?
Hey.
It's Nick filming. Alright, what we're going to do today is we're laying around in here in the backyard, and I have gathered up a few materials, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a video on a couple of tips for hand drills. Okay, I'm sure the cats are going to be in the video too. They've been into everything. They've been into this fluff right over here that I've got for my tender bundles. They've been laying all in it and playing with it. But anyway, basically what this is it's something that I did a complete hand drill video about 2 or 3 years ago. And ever since then, I've been getting messages about certain problems that people have had, and I haven't been able to cover those things yet, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cover it in this video, okay? And I haven't got around to it. I've been getting private messages on this for like 2 years now. And I've been wanting Nick to film this. And we've been getting a bunch of rain, and it's going to rain like crazy all weekend, so we're doing this now, okay? We're out here in the yard freezing to death for you. Ain't we, Nick?
Oh yeah. At least the cats are giving us some warmth.
Yeah, the cats are, yeah, they're having a ball. Anyway, okay, now the thing about the hand drills, all right? When you make a hand drill, there's a lot of times that whenever you start with, the most common one for me, I think, is mullein or mullein, okay? And a lot of times when you pick a huge plant like this, you wind up, you cut it off at the bottom, and then you pick a certain part of the plant and you cut it out so that it has a certain diameter. You don't want it too big. You don't want it bigger than your thumb, or it'll make it too hard to do, okay? So when that happens, these are what you call a pithy core weed, okay? Now, I have a few hand drills laying here, and this is the worst example of them, okay? I like mullein or mullein, and then there's thistle, there's fleabane, there's goldenrod, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of different ones you can use. Now, if you will look at the end of these hand drills, macro in on this. Click that macro right there.
Let's see.
So
the camera gets a little shaky. It's on the actual recorder.
Now, can you see that pretty clearly on the end?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, see on the end how it's blackened on the outside? That's because these weeds are what you call a pithy core weed. Okay. Now, if you'll notice, if you'll see inside here where I have used it in my hearthboard, you'll see where it's blackened on one side. Now what that is that's because this part on the outside is like wood and the inside is real soft. It's the pithy core weed. Let me show you another example. This is the worst one of them all. You can actually see, is that close enough or is that too close?
Yeah, move it up a little bit.
Closer?
No, up.
Up? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you could move the camera to see. But see how it's leaving that little hump in the middle? And what that does is you can take this and you can turn it into like a hole saw, and you can literally push its way. You can force it. See, the center's soft. I pulled it out with my fingernail. The center of that thing, you can literally push it through the board. Here's another example. And see, there's a lot of times, see those humps right there? Let me pull out a knife here. Are you getting this?
Yeah.
See this hump right here in the middle? There's a lot of times, and this black part is the hardened part that winds up giving you creating the ember that you want. And so see, a lot of times you have to pick this wooden part out because that wooden part will slow you down. And I'm going to show you how the tip to avoiding that. And you can see how just the outer part of it's black. Now somewhere in here I have the perfect hand drill, and this is it. For the most part, this is solid black, and the end of it is solid black. Dang, that is hard to do up close. The end of it is completely solid black. Okay, now let's cut this off. Alright, ease back up here. Now, the way you do that, the ideal way of doing that is you pick a plant. Let's see. Now, if you just take a plant, if you find, you're always looking for a nice straight spindle. And see this one right here, when you just cut it off, you got the real soft, pithy core part. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna take a drill bit, and as you can see, Can you see this good, Nick?
Yeah.
You can take a drill bit and you can actually push it in, and you can pull out that soft, pithy core. It's real soft stuff. Because on a hand drill, it's not wood on wood, it's weed on wood. Okay. I explain all that in other hand drill video, but what this is this is a tip video. Now basically what you would like to do is rip the plant out of the ground completely so that you've got the root ball, because that means it's solid out here on the end. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try with this one. Now I can't remember which is which, but I pulled all these out of the ground. I ripped them out of the ground about a month ago. Now, this one's pretty crooked on the end, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to let's see if we can't chop this off down here without breaking it. How about right here? Now see, it didn't work, it's hollow. It's where it's crooked. If I was to keep cutting on that some more, it would, what knife out. If I was to cut that off, see it's hollow on the end. And that's why I'm saying that a lot of these weeds, it's hard to find the perfect weed. So let's do this. See, I still got the dirt in. There's your root ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to chop this end of it off. Okay, see the very tip of it is solid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to start carving on this. And we're going to see if the end of it will remain solid. Can you see that okay, Nick?
Yeah.
All right. See, that's a little bit. I see there's no hole in the end of it. I know a lot of you that have messed around with this have discovered this. So, let's do that like that. Alright, so now what I have is I have a basically solid end. This might be too small a diameter and it might even be too rotten. To me, the perfect hand drill is from here to just a little bit above your leg right here, with your knee. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chop that off, okay? And I'm going to take this right here. Now normally, like whenever I'm out into the wild, what I'll do is I'll take my knife and I'll cut off all these little offshoots. I've cut off the majority of them, but to speed things up, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a piece of sandpaper and sand on it. And another thing too is you're always hearing about those people that when they're preparing for a hand drill, they spit on their hands to keep it from slipping. Well, sometimes if you carry a piece of sandpaper, you can rough this up and it won't slip as bad. Alright, now we're going to see how this thing works. This is the first trick, and then I'm going to show you another trick. Alright, let's take this and a knife. And we'll see if we can make the whole bottom of it black. Take this and dimple it. Alright, so now what we're going to do, can you see this okay?
Yeah.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to break it in. The way you do that is start spinning it. Until you get a little bit of smoke. Alright, I'm getting smoke now. Yeah. There we go. See that right there? See how the end is solid black? See how the end of that's solid black?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, ideally, if you can do that, okay, that is the perfect hand drill. Because like I say, when you take one of these, see the difference? This was cut off, so it's hollow, so you're only using the outside of it. But when you pulled it out of the ground and you had the root, you're using the entire bottom of it. Okay? So, we'll set that to the side. And see, there's another one right there. I pulled it out of the ground. Just chop it off and see if you got a solid bottom. Okay? Now, let's move on to... Alright, now we're on to the other trick, and I personally believe this is going to be a trick that you're going to use more often because, like I say, you can pull these plants out of the ground by the root and try to carve them, and sometimes the root will be split anyway. So this is more of a viable option. I'm not real sure which one to use. Let's just use the big one, for example, because this is what you're going to run into sometimes, okay? So what we're going to do, I got my mullein here. It's just your typical giant piece of mullein, or mullein. Incidentally, save these seed pods and take them and scatter the seeds around all over wherever you get the mullein. That way more will produce. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut the top off. Okay. You hear that tree back there creaking?
Yeah.
I hope it don't fall over. It'd be horrible.
Yeah, I wonder what could be making that tree creak.
I don't know. Probably a stupid cat. Anyway. All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm gonna go about a hand's width above my knee. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it just like that. All right. All right. Now what we're going to do is all these little bumpy places. Take and cut all them off. Now this will be universal. It doesn't matter if it's a mullein or horseweed or daisy fleabane or goldenrod or any kind of thistle. They're all going to have a soft core and they're all going to do the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this in first. I'm going to break it in first so that you'll see what I'm doing. Crazy cat. All right, where's that sandpaper? It's right here. Nick, are you cold yet?
Nope.
Look at that stupid cat. See, we can't do anything out here anymore. All right, let's sand this off.
He's very interested in learning about survival.
You think?
Yeah. He's covered in leaves and everything.
I know. You think the cat? Hey, you think
He's had it rough. He's had it rough.
You think the cat's been sleeping in a debris bed?
Oh yeah.
All right, now that's all you got to do, and you have a spindle. Okay. And right here we have a piece of eastern red cedar. Good stuff. So carve a flat on it. Sitting pretty good and flat. Let's chop a flat on it. Look at that stupid cat right there. Can't do nothing with them around. Alright, let's flip this over. Alright. Now let's make a little spot right here. Alright, let me get rid of this jacket here because I'm fixing to get hot. not over the cat's driving me crazy, but just over the simple fact that I'm gonna be spinning. We'll go ahead and we'll do a fire real quick too here at the end. All right, let's set this up right here and see if we can't break it in. Now, when you break these in, you just kind of spin. Now, the bottom of that's not round, so I'm gonna cut a little off. I know people talk about hand loops. I probably get 5,000 comments saying, "Oh, you could use hand loops." Well, hand loops are good for training, learning how to do this. But later on, you don't want to use them. You just want to use just hand strength. All right. Look at that. That thing's walking around all over the place because it's so far out of round. See how it's wearing crooked?
Cat or the rod?
a rod. Sometimes they just do that. I hate it when they do that. Sometimes they break in perfect, just like that other one, and then sometimes you got to kind of fight with them. You want to make sure there's nothing sharp on the top, so you don't poke yourself in the eye.
The cat's hitting the camera mount now.
All right, see that smoke coming up?
Zoom in on that pretty well. Here we go.
There we are.
I know there's been some issues in the past with seeing smoke on the camera, but I think because it's so cold out here now that you can actually see it.
You have or haven't? All right, see the bottom of
Have
that? Whew. Got it like that. All right, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna cut into this. Usually, when this stuff's real dry, it's easy to cut into. Sometimes I like to cheat and use a saw. I got a fine tooth saw that I use for this. I actually put that hole too far out. Now when you're doing this, you want to taper. You want to cut more off the bottom than the top. I'll be there in a minute.
Two hours later.
2 hours later. Alright. And you don't want to do a real sloppy job like I have. You want it nice and smooth. You want it nice and smooth so that when you lift it off of your Ember pile, it doesn't get hung up. Turn that back over. I think I like it better that way. Alright. Now, here's the trick. Is this one I just used? Okay, here's the trick. This is the trick right here. What you want to do, where'd that drill bit go? Where'd I put it? There it is.
I figured a cat took it.
No, they've taken everything
Cats are in a
else
tree
off.
back there now.
Is it? Alright, it's getting dark on us. So what you want to do is you want to take that drill bit and you want to run that drill bit in the end and say, that's just real soft stuff. It's useless. You cannot, that soft core has nothing to do with any kind of fire making abilities. Alright, got a hole in the end. So what you want to do now is, where's the, oh there it is, there's the top of the plant. So what you want to do now is you want to take the top of the plant, and you want to pull off some of these, right here. Pull you off some of these seeds, okay? Alright, now what you want to do, you want to cut it off, break off a little piece of it. Now what you want to do is you want to split it into several pieces. Well, actually, that's good enough. Now, can you see this soft, pithy stuff? See how I'm pulling this stuff out of the center?
Yeah, let's zoom in on that. Look at it.
I'm pulling that out. I got most of that out down here. That ought to be enough. Okay, so now what I've got is a hard outer shell. And then you want to take these other pieces that you broke off And see the pithy core's just falling out of it. You want to fold it over and bend it, and then lay it inside this, so that now you've got a whole bunch of that stuff. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then what you want to do, you got a whole bunch of this harder stuff all crammed together, and what you want to do is you want to shove it down into the bottom of that as deep as you can go. If you push it too hard, you'll break it. I mean, you'll break this part. And that's what you do. It doesn't always work good every time. It may not work good this time, but I've got hard stuff in the center of it right there. So now what we're going to do, let's try to make an ember with it. I like to use a little piece of wood instead of a leaf. So let's see what we can do right here. Let's see if I can make a little pile right here without getting too winded. Can you see this okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now sometimes the ends of this crack, if you pack it too full of that stuff, I'm hoping that it didn't.
Already got smoke.
Yep, that's because it was broken in. Now don't stop till you're totally exhausted. Because the bigger the ember pile, the better the chance of success. That's big enough. Now, a lot of times I'll leave it on there to see if it's smoking on its own. And I see it did not work. See the center of it? I didn't have enough in it. Here, put it on macro.
Switch over.
See the little dimple in the end of it?
Yeah.
So what you want to do,
Cut that out.
cut that out. Okay. Now I'm going to try not to knock over my ember pile, which I did. I just dumped out about half of it. So what you want to do now is you want to let's take a little more of this. Now see, that just popped straight off. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
So what you want to do now is you want to scrape this stuff out. Sometimes, if your fingernails are long enough, you can scrape it out with your fingernails. Now what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to fold it over. Where did it go?
I think the cat took it.
And I'm just going to try to shove it in. I don't know if I can. Let me cut a little bit out of the end of it. See, I'm just going to push this into the end of it so that I've got some of the hard woody weed in the middle. And I'm showing all this as it happens. I don't want to cut the camera off and do any trickery. So now I got some in the middle there. Alright, now I've got some crammed in the middle. Sometimes you have to just continuously cram it in. So, let's try this again. I'm going to lay this on here. I'm hoping I can do this again. There may be too much moisture in the atmosphere, but I hope not. I hope I can do it okay. Alright, I'm about out of steam.
Do you suppose as a moisture test to see if you can even do this, you suppose you could put some of that natural fluff over there in its spot?
Look, it still wasn't enough. I don't know. It still wasn't enough. See, I'm out of steam now. Let me try the first spindle. How about that? Sometimes it takes some work, but it's getting dark.
I can't feel my fingers.
Oh, is it? Oh, really? All right. I'm getting tired. I'm gonna have to take a break. I gotta rest for a minute, Nick. I'm too exhausted. Okay. All right, now what I decided to do is go back with the other one because I'm trying to prove a point here. And I've cut off a bunch of more small pieces. And I'm gonna try to cram them all in to the end of this. Which I don't know. Let's see.
There is a cat climbing on top of me right now.
I know. I noticed.
And it's clawing me.
Excuse me. Alright, let me try that. Alright, I'm pushing more into the end of it. So let's try this one more time. Let's see if I can, see if I still got the energy to do this. For one thing, there's something going on here. I don't like this big hump right here. That thing's set flatter.
You can sand it down.
That's a little better. Huh?
You can sand it down a little bit.
Nah. Well, I cut off what I need
that
to.
sandpaper over there.
Alright, wish me luck. Let's see if I got the steam to do this.
I got $20 on new.
Oh no! Gee, thanks, Nick. Alright, let's try it again.
I'm seeing some smoke.
Good, but I ain't got the steam I had when we started.
Oh crap!
What?
The cat just climbed up my back. Sorry to all of you out there. The
I
camera's
can't
a little
do
shaky.
it. There's no way. My arms hurt too bad. My arms hurt, my hand hurts. But there's no dimple in the bottom and it's all black. So maybe what I'll do is, before I edit this video, I'll take this same set and see if I can do something with it. Alright, hope you learned something. Whew. I'm exhausted.
The cat's on my shoulder.
It is, ain't it?
You're not a parrot.
You know, this doesn't happen in the woods.
We should have filmed in the woods.
We should have. We will next time. Alright, anything you want to add, Nick?
Don't get cats. One's clawing my back right now.
Now, I have always believed in honesty and being real, reality, okay? Keeping it like it is, okay? Now, so, I'll keep it honest. I am old and tired and wore out and not in good shape, okay? After doing all that work with the hand drill, after cutting off the end of it and showing how you use the root of it, and then taking that other hand drill and slowly shoving all that inner bark, the outer bark into the pith of it, and then spinning on it. Well, all that spinning got me so wore out that by the time I got around to actually doing a hand drill, I was so tired I couldn't do it. So, back during the heyday when I was doing hand drills every day and I was used to it, I could crank out probably 3 a day, sometimes 4 hand drills. But now I can pretty much do like 1 a day because, you know, your hands get accustomed to it, and your chest muscles and your triceps and everything. You know, everything. When you're in practice, you get used to it. You know, and you can crank them off no problem. But you know, when you don't, I'm not. We had a drought, so I just quit doing it. And I got out of practice. You know, so but you can't have a hand drill video without actually doing a hand drill. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a hand drill, and I had to come over here in front of the shop because it's actually rained, you know, 3 days in a row. So outside in the yard is all wet, and there's a dry spot here in front of the shop, which I'm gonna use. Now, another thing of interest is I'm gonna crank off a hand drill, and I'm also gonna put another little, I got an extra little camera right here that I'm gonna put on the ground down next to where it's forming, so that you can see those that are interested in kind of as close as possible without my hands hitting the camera. I'm going to give you a close-up view of the ember forming. Okay, I'm going to try to do that. And then I'm going to take that footage and I'm going to put that footage at the end of the video so you can kind of see it forming. So, okay, all right, well, let's get started. See if I can do it. All right, I have my hearth board here. It's all broken in with a notch and ready to go. And then I got like a little piece of wood that I'm going to put under it to catch my glowing ember. A lot of people will use a leaf. I've got to where if I have a piece of wood, I'll use it. And then I've got my tinder bundle from the earlier. I put all the fluff in it. That was the fluff the cats was playing with. So I don't know. There's a lot of humidity out here. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to be successful with it. Let's see if I can move this camera to where it ain't in the way of too much. Right there, I think. Okay. So let's give this a try. I don't think it'll be in the way of my hands. So see it record right there. Let's see what we can do. A little spit on my hands there. Let me put my foot over here. Oh no. Come out of the hole. Some people can stop early, but I like to make sure that I've got plenty of dust. I don't want to have, I'd rather have too much than too little. Now, a lot of people will remove their spindle, but I leave it in because there's heat on the bottom of the spindle. And so after I am sure that it's been smoking, I'll remove it. And as soon as I see the red on it, I'm good to go. I'll let it sit there for a minute. Kind of tap it. See how I've got the bottom of it tapered? That way you don't disturb the coal pile. Let's see. That's what you want. You want it smoking on its own. Alright. Now I'm going to dump it in here. And let's see if we can have a fire. Hopefully this won't be too moist. Hope it works. Alright. So what I'll do now is I'll take this inside and I'll fold it over. Fold that over. Hope I don't squeeze it too hard. See, sometimes you squeeze it too hard, you can kill it. See, now it's not catching on, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wave it around. Sometimes waving it around because you got moisture in your breath. Then again, it may just kill it because, like I said, it's been raining and everything's real moist. Let it rest again. To me, this is the hardest part. Cranking off a coal is not that bad, especially with a bow drill. Bow drill, it's a little easier. See, I don't even know where it's at now. I may lose it here. There it goes. Fire. We'll spit on my hands there. Put my head on it. Oh no. Come out of the hole. Some people can stop early, but I like to make sure that I've got plenty of dust. I don't want to have, I'd rather have too much than too little. Now, a lot of people will remove their spindle, but I leave it in because there's heat on the bottom of the spindle. And see, after I am sure that it's been smoking, I'll remove it. And as soon as I see the red on it, I'm good to go. I'll let it sit there for a minute. Kind of tap it. See how I've got the bottom of it tapered? That way you don't disturb the coal. There it goes. Fire. Usually what you do is when you got it like this, you'll turn it upside down onto your campfire, and you'll let the coarse stuff be on the top. You see how well that's going? So there you have it. I hope you had a good time. I hope you had an enjoyable time. Hope you learned something. It's just a few little tricks to help you out with the bow drill. So next time I'll have a shelter for you. In the meantime, I shall see you in the next one.